We have a lot to talk about in today's MLB offseason recap. Even Blue Jays fans are shocked at what just happened. We got to break down their latest blessing. The San Diego Padres starting pitching staff is getting put in a blender lately, not only because they might lose guys like Dylan Cease and Michael King to free agency, but Darvish, it just got announced that he's out for the entirety of 2026. We have another Japanese stud coming over. According to all of the reports and fans, they're preparing for the Dodgers to add him alongside Shota Imanaga, who just got basically not released, but rejected by the Cubs. We have a lot of players making some noise in the free agency market. Some players stayed, some are leaving. Guys like Salvy Perez, Trevor Story, Harrison Bader, and Jack Flaherty. And also, we have to talk about the Pirates because, no BS, they might be the worst run team in all of sports. We'll talk about all of that and more in today's recap. If you're new here, my name's Fuzzy. I don't want you guys on your phone 24/7. So if you guys want to spend some time with your family or just simply off social media, I recap every breaking story in these videos. So stick around, leave a like, and hit that subscribe button. Also, don't forget that recap would be impossible to make without SeatGeek and Underdog Fantasy. Use code Fuzzy. First up in today's MLB recap, we have some breaking news about Darvish. He's going to be missing all of 2026 with a UCL brace surgery. When he comes back, he'll be 40 years old. A lot of fans are speculating that this could be it, but I don't think so. He's not a free agent until 2029. He's not going to leave that much money on the table. If it does end right now, he has a career mid-threes ERA with 2,000 plus strikeouts in Major League Baseball. He has 3,000 plus for his professional career, and he held the strikeouts per nine record for a while in MLB before it got taken back by Chris Sale. Wrong lefty, my bad. Blake Snell is the record holder for the best strikeouts per nine of all time. But what does this mean for the rest of the Padres pitching staff? Because we know that Dylan Cease and Michael King are free agents. Joe Musgrove is coming back, but if Cease and King leave and Darvish is on the shelf, you have to add some depth to the rotation and really save yourself. Mason Miller, he could be that guy, but then again, Robert Suarez, their all-star closer, opted out. He's a free agent as well. A lot of mayhem is going on with the Padres right now. What do you think is going to happen? Three small little stories I want to get into real quick before we talk about that Japanese stud who's coming over. Andrew Kittredge, who was traded to the Cubs, is going back to the Orioles for cash. So simply, he was sold back to the Orioles. He's going to be 35 years old in 2026. He was insane with Chicago just in terms of the strikeout stuff after the trade. He did get lit up in the playoffs, mostly because of some mistake pitches and giving up the long ball. But Andrew Kittredge, he's back on the Orioles. We have more Cubs reliever talk. Keegan Thompson, he's going to the Reds. He's going to get about $1-ish million. He had a 2.5 ERA and an almost 11 strikeouts per nine in 2024. The last time we saw him, he was insane. Had a rough spring before 2025 and then spent the entire season in AAA. That almost made no sense to me, but he's on the Reds now. Salvy Perez, he could have been a free agent, but he's getting a 2-year extension, about $25-ish million guaranteed. Some of that money is deferred, and there's a signing bonus to help mitigate taxes for Salvy. Does that sound familiar? I guess the Dodgers aren't the only teams that can do it. Anyways, before I start ranting, because we just talked about the Dodgers, let's talk about a guy who they could employ in the next few months. Tatsuya, if I botched this name, I'm really sorry. Tatsuya Imai, he's about to be posted from Japan. He's 27 years old, and his stats were ridiculous this past season. He had a sub-2 ERA with 178 strikeouts and 163 innings. He's one of the hardest throwing starters left in Japan. We're kind of just stealing all of them, talking about Major League Baseball, but he's got 95-ish miles an hour on the fastball with the wipeout slider, and of course, just like every Japanese pitcher and their mother, he's got a splitter. So in the comments down below, do you think that he's destined to be in a Dodgers uniform, or do you think that other teams are going to wake up and just give him a flyer and kind of risk it for the biscuit? Coming up next, we have 5 or 6 updates on players that are opting in or being brought back by their team that they were on last year. Shane Bieber, this is the shocking story I was talking about in the intro and today's title. He's going back to the Blue Jays for only $16 million on a 1-year deal. So his contract, it was structured a little bit weird. He's getting a $4 million buyout, but then he's picking up his $12 million option. So $16 million total. He's going to be 31 years old. So instead of just hitting the free agency market, getting his $4 million buyout, and then getting more money on top of it in a free open market, he wants another crack with the Blue Jays. He wants a rebound season and a chance at multiple years, even though he could have gotten that. So I guess he just really believes in his stuff. He thinks that he's going to go crazy in 2026 and get a bunch more money after next season. There you go. They got super lucky, but Blue Jays fans, honestly, after that World Series, they deserve kind of a crazy deal like this, and that's what it is. It's a crazy deal. Bieber for $16 million bucks, that's a bargain. Chris Sale's $18 million option is being exercised by the Braves. He almost had a 12 strikeouts per nine last year with the sub 2.5 ERA. He has a 2.3 FIP, which is one of those fancy stats that really just takes luck out of the equation. He has a 2.3 FIP in over 300 innings as a Brave, which is historically good for anyone, let alone a 35 35 to 36-year-old. The Braves are also bringing back Ozzie Albies, who is on one of the worst contracts I've ever seen by a star player. I know some of you guys think he's overrated, but he's put up star stats. The Braves are picking up his $7 million option for this year. He also has a $7 million option for next year. He's only, I put that in air quotes, it's still a ton of money, only made $31 million. Anthony Rendon is going to make that type of money for not even playing this year. So that's how bad the contract is for Albies, but he signed the dotted line. Jack Flaherty is also staying put. He is going back to the Tigers. He picks up his $20 million player option. Of course he's going to. He had a ton of strikeouts, but an almost 4.7 ERA. Frankie Montas, this is an ouchie if you're a Mets fan. He's picking up his $17 million option. He put up a 6.5 ERA. The strikeouts were way down, and he's not even going to really be able to pitch next year. He's undergoing a UCL surgery, so he won't be ready until August at the earliest. That is a ton of money for literally zero production heading into a new season. And then Trevor Story, last but not least in terms of the opt-ins, he's not going to leave $55 million on the table. 2 years, $55 million is being picked up. Last year, he had a ton of extra base hits, stolen bases, RBIs, which is awesome for a shortstop, but defensively, he cratered. And we know that Trevor Story is one of the better defensive shortstops of the last decade. Unfortunately, Father Time is undefeated, and it seems like his athleticism is kind of waning, even though the stolen bases are still there. He had a -7 DRS and a -9 outs above average, and again, he's going to be 33 years old. Maybe slide him over to third base, pick up Bo Bichette, and put Marcelo at second or something like that. You still have room for Christian Campbell. The Red Sox at this moment right now, I don't know what they're going to do with their infield spots. And now it's time to talk about some players who will not be returning to the squads that they were on last year, and we got to talk about the Pirates. They released the guy who they got in a big trade. Again, we'll talk about how stupid they are in just a moment, but Liam Hendriks, his $12 million option from the Red Sox has obviously been declined. In 14 games last year, he didn't impress much. I mean, he was bad, but he was coming back from cancer and Tommy John. He will be 37 years old going into 2026. You know what I would love? I would love a reunion with the A's. Go to the A's, kind of be the veteran of that bullpen. I would love that. Harrison Bader just rejected his $10 million option. So again, it was his choice. The Phillies, they probably would have kept him at $10 million if they could have. But Harrison Bader, he gets a $3 million buyout, and he can test the open market. So he gets a free $3 million, and now he can go sign for even more money as a free agent. He's still an elite defender. He upped the bat speed and the sprint speed because he was healthier last year. That doesn't really include the playoffs because he got hurt. And he took more walks. He's going to be 31 years old. He's going to get a decent bag. Chas McCormick was a monster, a literal monster not too long ago. He put up a 132 OPS plus in 2023 with fantastic defense. He was a lefty masher, but he had a weird little beef with Dusty Baker, so his playing time kind of became a little bit sporadic. And since 2023, since that 132 OPS plus, he's hitting 211 with a 63 OPS plus. And I don't know if he can bounce back with the speed, although he did show that he can be quick. Maybe he was just injured throughout 2025. He'll be 31 years old here soon. He just got waived by the Astros. I forgot to mention that. He's not on the Astros anymore. Would you want Chas McCormick? Honestly, I would love him if the Guardians don't bring back Lane Thomas, put him out there in center field as a lefty destroyer, and see if it works out, because he'll be cheaper than Lane Thomas. We have some more breaking news. This is Fuzzy from the future. I was almost done with today's video. I was editing everything when this news broke. Jorge Polanco, he is no longer a Mariner. He could come back, but he just opted out of his contract, and it makes perfect sense. He had 26 home runs and a 135 OPS plus last season. Defensively, Jorge Polanco is never going to be anything special, but there are teams around the league that could use a power hitting, switch hitting second baseman, or even someone that could DH every so often. We saw his power and clutchness in the playoffs. Where do you think he's going to go? Jose Quintana, speaking of lefties, he turned in a sub-4 ERA last year, but I guess it was a little bit concerning and not enough to impress the Brewers on bringing him back because they just let go of him. Everything regressed. His ground ball percentage, he is literally known for keeping the ball on the ground. It wasn't as good last year. He got hit even harder. That changeup and sinker combination just did not have the same bite as what we used to see from Jose Quintana. He's going to be 37 years old, so he's not going to get a ton of money if he does come back. And here's the much anticipated update on the Pirates. They have let go or waived Liover Peguero. He is gone, and he's still pretty young. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because he was once traded for Starling Marte in 2020 after Starling went crazy the year before, hitting .295 with 31 doubles, 23 home runs, and 25 stolen bases. The Pirates suck at everything, so they botched the Starling Marte trade, and watch. Liover Peguero, he's going to get picked up by the Rays or the Dodgers and completely break out because he's still really quick, and he's got some decent bat speed. The Pirates, I mean, historically, they really don't do anything right. Aside from that Brian Reynolds trade, that's about it. And no, I'm not going to give them credit for developing Paul Skeens. Paul Skeens is one of the most sure prospects we've ever seen. They just stunk it up so much and so often that they had a chance to draft him. So no, I don't give them any credit for that. I could have made that pick. My cat could have made that pick. And there we have it, another recap in the books. This is the premier place to be if you want to stay up to date on the game of baseball. So if you enjoyed, leave a like and subscribe. It really helps me out, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.